2 weeks ago, the Metropolitan Police sent a letter to a man who made a Twitter video mocking the new-look Wembley Way, which carries our fans back and forth to the National Stadium. The video reveals a sea of flags lining the route as far as the eye can see. Not Union Jacks or St George's flags, mind, but other flags. Holy flags, all in their radiant glory. This man, who committed the video, had also committed the heresy of mocking this flagathon, and his Twitter apostasy was picked up by the police, who were on the case immediately. I personally found his comments crass and distasteful, but none of that is the point. They are not illegal. The Metropolitan Police wrote to this sinner and informed the man he was required to attend a voluntary interview, which is mildly confusing, owing to the fact that required and voluntary are literally opposites. But the plot thickens. The letter stated that he was required to attend this interview for breaching an Act of Parliament which doesn't even exist. The police referred to this pretend piece of legislation as the Malicious Communications Act of 2003. But they may have got confused in their determination to get to the bottom of this case, whether they were referring to the Communications Act of 2003 or its predecessor, the Malicious Communications Act of 1988. Ooh, lots of maliciousness here. We may never know. It matters not. Why get bogged down in petty foibles like the law? The man had committed a sin of mocking the flag. And the police were going to stop at nothing to defend the flag's rights. I personally struggle to see how you can communicate maliciously with an object. But again, in the land of being kind, just days before the start of the third most important month in the woke calendar, after Pride Month and Black History Month, the ultimately sacred LGBTQ LMNOP Pride History Month of something or other, and something needed to be done, and done quickly. Pity the fool who in any way objects to this political policing or dares to point out to the Rozzers that their time may be better spent doing their job the public pay them to do, which is to solve actual crimes instead of policing our minds. The Metropolitan Police, like so many forces around this country, has their very own anti-racist Rainbow Brigade, and they police with an iron fist. Which brings us rather uncomfortably to Dave Carrick, or Bastard Dave, as he was referred to by his colleagues, a 17-year veteran of the Met Police's firearms unit, 17 years during which he used his status as a police officer to groom at least 24 women, which he's admitted to so far, before raping them. He did this unhindered, despite coming onto the police's attention and their radar 9 times during his time within the force, 24 rapes so far for Bastard Dave. Decades of abuse. 9 unanswered calls for help. So one wonders what the officer slumped at his desk, scrolling through social media for rainbow hate, might have achieved if they had instead used their time to take a closer look at the list of complaints made against Bastard Dave, one of their own. We will never know. Or failing that, what crime said officer might have prevented if they had been outside on the beat near a church in Euston last Saturday afternoon, when a 7-year-old girl was gunned down in a drive-by shooting before being rushed to hospital in a critical condition. First Wayne, the rapist Cousins, as he was referred to by his colleagues, clue in the name, you would have thought, and now Bastard Dave. The Met are now looking into more than 1,600 cases of alleged sexual violence within their own ranks, and yet they still have time to go after a man who hurt the feelings of a flag. When the police are so fast to investigate those who mock the rainbow cult than they are to investigate the very real, in-your-face criminality of their own, how can the public have any confidence in them? And speaking of confidence, it has evaporated in the National Health Service, as a major new survey today reveals that 67% of the public think it's doing a bad job. I can't imagine shutting the whole thing down for a couple of years did them any favours, and we still have that very awkward 50,000 lives lost out of nowhere and the complete and utter silence from the government upon it. There will be no remembrance wall for those lost souls. Some lives are more important than others, it would seem. They are just the collateral damage, the cost of the power grab on our civil liberties and the right to ask hard questions and express valid opinions, even in the Houses of Parliament. So, I wish to report a crime. Our institutions have been taken hostage by a political ideology so pure and so glorious that we must worship and spread the good news in every available moment. An ideology which preaches inclusion whilst promoting division, an ideology so perfect that millions are spent each year in the police and in the health service to pay for diversity, equity and inclusion commissars, there to ensure observance to it. One wonders if these lost diversity millions will have been better spent on someone to investigate Bastard Dave and his heinous ways, or whether some of this wasted cash could be spent on an investigation as to why there are 50,000 more people 6 feet down than there should have been in 2022. One thing we do know is that if we want to preserve our culture, then we need to surgically remove political posturing from our treasury of public services and national institutions.